So it happened again, and it's going to keep happening because NATO's proving itself to be a paper tiger. What am I talking about? Another drone just landed in a NATO country, and I'm not talking about just over the border in Romania, where, okay, it was an accident, electronic warfare shot it down, that sort of thing. We're talking about 100 kilometers inside Poland. Inside Poland. Like, there's not even any reason that it would be anywhere near Poland, all other things being equal. Last one happened, it was in Lithuania on the other side of Belarus. This is in Poland on the other side of Belarus. Okay, a Russian Shahed drone crashed and exploded near Warsaw. Well, not like right outside Warsaw, but I mean closer to Warsaw than anything else that we can explain. The object landed in a cornfield on the village in the village of Osny. According to unofficial reports, it was most likely a Shahed drone, which the Russians used in the war against Ukraine. And yeah, I mean, it blew up a couple of buildings. You just heard it just now because I was making sure that you were hearing what it sounds like. Okay, the Polish authorities claim the population or try to calm the population after Russia strikes deep into Poland with a kamikaze drone. So now Poland, you should be upset, right? There's no reason. If you look at the map, you're not even anywhere near this 100 kilometers into your country, and yet NATO will do nothing. I mean, that's the reality, and it will repeat itself. And that's what I said last time that it happened. NATO will do nothing, and it repeated. Okay, let's look at this. If you really want to do something like this, and you kind of tamp this down. Lieutenant General Abashev, deputy commander of the Russian Army Group North, lost his arm and leg in the night of August 16th in the Kursk region. So he's driving along in Kursk, feeling like he's not vulnerable there where you should be feeling vulnerable. Ukraine hit a Russian convoy in Kursk on August 17th. Now, this is interesting because I see a video of it, and it wasn't a convoy. It was just the one truck. General Abashev, maybe there is more to it than what we see in the video. General Abashev, Moscow's North Grouping deputy, lost an arm and a leg and was rushed to Moscow. Here's the drone video of an attack on a car carrying Russian General Abashev, deputy commander of the Sever Group forces, on a particular highway here on August 16th. And yeah, and it's bad. Like he got hit. I don't see any convoy here, but yeah, that's showing like some force, right? Like if you're trying to drive the invaders out, you drive them. Yeah. Okay. Ukrainian SBU drones destroyed 2 Russian ammunition depots in occupied Luhansk. Fires were later confirmed by NASA satellite. The strike disrupts supply routes to the Pokrovsk front. A Ukrainian MiG carried out airstrikes on Russian positions near Mern, Zaporizhzhia region. Operators of the border unit Phoenix destroyed a Russian Grad launcher loaded with full ammo set as it was moving to a firing position. And yeah, I mean, so what drones can do and what they're just able to see in order to change the battlefield reality is just really amazing, right? I mean, there it goes, right? You can see it. Okay, then you have the new Flamingo system. Like everything here is showing you if you do this thing, there will be consequences, but there's no consequences here for this sort of thing. And so it happens again and again. And then they have to explain to their population what's going on. So the new Flamingo system is for blasting Russian factories. So part of the problem is Ukraine's been able to target these things, but they haven't been able to bring a big enough payload. Well, problem solved. Kind of. I'll explain what I mean by kind of. Ukraine has this new cruise missile. It may be one of the hardest hitting missiles in the world, but it's unclear how many Kyiv can afford because it's also it's bulky and expensive. So Ukraine's new Flamingo missile is for destroying these factories. The Flamingo is a product of Kyiv-based manufacturer Firepoint, weighs in at a staggering 6,000 kilograms. That's 4 times what the American Tomahawk cruise missile weighs. The rocket-propelled Flamingo should be able to haul a 1,000-kilogram warhead over a distance of 3,000 kilometers while under satellite and internal guidance or inertial guidance. Is speeding along at 950 kilometers per hour. The ramp-launched missile should be able to avoid all but the best Russian air defenses. ranging twice as far as the current Ukrainian strike munitions. And remember, a lot of Russian air defenses are tied up around Putin's houses and stuff, because that's what he did. Okay, Russia's oil industry, the lifeblood of Putin's entire global terror binge, is living on borrowed time, according to Jay and Kiev's comments here. The range of Ukraine's new Flamingo system assures that there will be no Putin regime. Again, this is comments, but look at the map just to see what the range is, how far it can hit, and all these dots are like good juicy targets for the Flamingo with oil factories, refineries, that sort of thing. Okay. Russia launched an air attack last night, 2 Iskander-M ballistic missiles, 93 Shahed-type drones, decoys from multiple directions. Ukraine's air defenses intercepted 1 missile, 62 drones. Not a good record. 62 out of 93 left a lot on the table. Strikes were recorded at 20 locations. Russia struck a fuel and energy facility in Odessa. One person was hospitalized. The blast required 54 rescuers and 16 specialized vehicles. This was pretty ugly. It was a pretty big blast. Putin's forces dropped aerial bombs on a residential area in Konstantinivka and Donetsk. And they're still trying to see if anybody's under the rubble. Zelensky posted this last night. A drone strike in the Sumy region injured 14 people, a family wounded children, a family with wounded children, 5 months, 4 years, and 6 years old. This is what the Russians attack day over day. And it's crazy to my mind that people are, the Russians, they should get their stuff. The Russians are committing war crimes daily, attacking innocent civilians in their homes. Like, where's the morality of this? Oh, but they grabbed this land. So might makes right. I mean, that's the message that we're sending to the world. If you have a nuke, you can do this kind of thing to your neighbor. The consequences are going to be grim if we allow this. They sought assistance after the attack in Konstantinivka, Donetsk region. A glide bomb strike damaged 5 apartment buildings, and at least 3 people remain under the rubble. Again, this is all targeting civilians. There was also a treacherous strike on a gas distribution station in the Odessa region. Shelling also targeted Chernihiv, Kharkiv, and Poltava. Okay. This was in the middle of the day yesterday, not last night. Russian forces struck an ambulance with a drone in Kupiansk, according to the Kharkiv regional prosecutor's office. 2 medics, aged 56 and 43, were injured in the attack. You're striking an ambulance, right? There's not, the military purpose is not there. These are called war crimes, and the world just needs to wake up. July 2025 was the deadliest month for Ukrainian civilians in over 3 years of Russia's full-scale war, with 286 killed, 1,388 injured, according to UN Human Rights. That's what we know of in July. Just in July. Again, there's a reason that I'm upset here. Okay, 920 Russians off the battlefield day over day, 1 tank, 4 armored fighting vehicles, 50 artillery systems, 142 vehicles and fuel tanks, and in the Pokrovsk direction, Russian invaders conducted 40 assaults. So that's reasonably high given the number of personnel that we're seeing here off the battlefield. Okay, Ukrainian troops say that they have cut off a Russian assault that broke through north of Pokrovsk, threatening key defensive lines. So it's good that that's been thwarted. In June, Putin announced the creation of buffer zone in Sumy Oblast, and he did not rule out the possibility of taking over the city of Sumy. Remember that after Istanbul? Well, fine. If you don't want to come to the peace table, we'll take Sumy too. Well, Sumy appears to have failed, with only 2 small pockets under Russian control remaining. There's pretty much nothing left in the Sumy defense. And the general that was in charge lost his job. Now, Russia's taken less than 1% of Ukraine in 3 years, losing 1 million soldiers and hundreds of billions of dollars in military equipment. The U.S. administration fell for Russian psyops and wants to force Ukraine to gift Russia another 1.5 of the most fortified land. That's one of the best commentaries that I've seen about what just happened with Alaska and how Zelensky corrected the record by saying, look, in 1,000 days, they've taken less than 1% of Ukraine's land. That's what Zelensky was telling Trump and apparently in Washington. And so that's some good perspective. Okay. Cyber Baroshino reports that a successful drone strike on former air defense site in Zaporizhzhia district in occupied Crimea. The likely target was a high-value Russian Kosta 2E2 radar. And they keep going after these radars, and after the radars, the air defense are blinded, and that's the next step in the puzzle. Precision work by Ukraine's 5th Assault Brigade in Kramatorsk direction, a Russian tank, quad bike, artillery piece, and infantry all taken out. And then this is just a belly view of a Ukrainian Mi-24 Hind helicopter gunship maneuvering low over the ground, just because I think it's a cool view. Like, wow, look at that. Now, this is just some follow-up to previous stories. The Druzhba pipeline is back operational. It was hit yesterday, and it looked like it would be offline for a little while. They've already repaired it, the damage to the pipeline and a transformer. Ukrainian sanctions are, however, kicking in other places. Ukrainian sanctions, by the way, means that instead of sanctions, like we're going to say that you can't buy this or we're not going to allow you to buy this, they'll just blow it up. The Russian gas stations are swamped with huge lines after drone strikes knocked out multiple refineries. In Primorsky Krai, queues stretch for kilometers. In other places, fuel's only sold by coupons. Even Crimea is running low on fuel. Some Z bloggers are complaining about the sharp deterioration of the economic situation in Russia. Quote, we could face serious economic challenges in the fall. The industrial sector is in a very deplorable state. Several of the major enterprises may declare bankruptcy because they are currently in a pre-bankruptcy state. Yeah, it's getting bad. Lines for gasoline continue to spread across Russia as fuel shortages become acute. The website for St. Petersburg Mercantile Exchange that normally lists the prices has been taken offline. Like, it's one thing after another. Multiple regions of Russia are now affected as the country is gripped by worsening fuel crisis. Queues up to 8 hours long in many areas as petrol stations run dry. The local government is even telling its population that fuel shortages are caused by scheduled maintenance, not because Jane Keefe is putting this commentary out, not because it's taken down 20% of the country's refining capacity in the past 2 weeks. That's a little bit of an overstatement. 22% has been hit. Not all 22% has been destroyed. We don't know exactly how much, but nonetheless, it's having an effect. And so my very next video I'm not going to show these again, but I'm going to do a video just dedicated on the economic damage to Russia over the last just week, not including what I just showed you here. So be looking for that. Now, another story. This is big. Confirmed. Sources with whom I have spoken, this is Jason J. Smart from the Kyiv Post. I have spoken, confirmed that General Zaluzhny has quietly begun his presidential campaign to challenge Ukrainian President Zelensky. Sources indicate that he has the go-ahead to gave the go-ahead to his team over a month ago, started planning his campaign. So now, I don't know that that's a bad thing necessarily. And you should be able to have real competition in a democracy. Of course, they can't have the election just yet because they're still under martial law, and as soon as martial law is lifted, they'll have a horse race and see if Zelensky or Zaluzhny is the choice of the people. So that's a good thing, and I don't think he'll be Russia's puppet. I'm pretty sure that he's a pretty safe candidate. Okay, last little bit by Darth Putin. On this day in 1968, Soviet Russia invaded to save Czechoslovakia from the Prague Spring. Some of these tanks are in Ukraine today. Think about that. Some of those tanks are actually in Ukraine today, or have been in Ukraine today, from 1968. The Warsaw Pact is the only mutual defense alliance in history to repeatedly invade itself, as members were not permitted to interfere in their own internal affairs. How about that? This guy's got away with words, doesn't he? All right, my friends, thank you for your time, the likes, the shares, and the subscribes, and thank you for being the kind of person that cares about Ukraine.